Okay, well, I would say question them because I am famous and infamous on the internet, so they may be video recording.
Cool.
Last video, we explored a little bit into what makes a person a lolcow and the differences between them and the OG sideshow community. We learned that the essence of a lolcow is the actions that put them in the spotlight. Some of the behaviors we usually see from them are a cry for attention and making a fool out of themselves. But what happens when there's an escalation? A lolcow can transform into something else, worse than before, and they will never change back. These are called horrorcows. Back in the day, the sideshows were categorized into 3 acts: animals, abilities, and physical abnormalities. This came out of my ass, by the way. As I see it, the acts were segmented between the typical ringleader with the lions and the elephants, others were the acrobats, the clowns, and the third one will be the bearded woman, the elephant man, among others. All of them were people trying to put food on the table. Not that all of them were good, we'll be talking a little bit about Lobster Guy here. But this was a job for them, unlike a lolcow. I mean, if they play their cards right, these people can live out of their impulsivity online. Again, with Fruity Beauty, just like the last video. There was a moment in time where she was earning a lot of money because she was involved with an awful person who was in prison because he stabbed his ex-girlfriend. So everyone was afraid for her safety. Also, this individual introduced her to hard drugs and her behavior changed to a more teenage self. All of this while being in her late 30s, by the way. Now she is scraping for views because she's very boring, but the point here is these people can use their shenanigans online as a source of income. But as the OG sideshow community was segmented into 3 acts, the lolcows only have 2, as far as I know. We already know what a lolcow is. What about a horror cow? Anybody can become a horror cow. But to define the term, let me talk about a guy that fits in the category perfectly. I found this summary on Reddit and it was perfect because I don't want to spend a lot of time talking about this guy. Randy Stair was a YouTuber who did playthroughs and skits. Randy also worked at a grocery store called Wise Market. He was beyond obsessed with the character Ember McLean from the cartoon Danny Phantom, which was created by Butch Hartman. Randy was obsessed to the point he believed he was really a ghost girl from another dimension. Randy Stair, or as he called himself Andrew Blaze, was a 25-year-old guy with cringe YouTube videos, the ones that made him a lolcow. But among those videos there were concerning behaviors, like shooting guns while opening up about the thoughts of ending his life. On June 7 of 2017, he ended up going to his work at the Wise Market, shooting 3 of his colleagues, and then turning the gun on himself. A horror cow is someone who takes that eccentricity to a horrifying extreme, involving themselves in illegal and disturbingly immoral behavior. We're talking about people who endanger kids in any way you can imagine, torture animals and people, and just like we saw on Randy's case, end people's lives. They can also have an addiction to adult content and be obsessed with gore. A horror cow, just like a regular cow, will open their life for everyone to see. Main character syndrome. It becomes frustrating when they are clearly guilty of a crime, but the law does nothing about it. Chris Chan, the original lolcow turned horror cow, became that because they sexually abused their elderly mother suffering from dementia. We learn about this because of a leaked conversation Chris had with someone else.
Okay, well, I would say question them because I am famous and infamous on the internet, so they may be video recording.
Cool.
They were arrested and stood on trial and were found guilty of the crimes. Kind of, because they were let go. They're free now. So, at least in this case, the law kind of failed. Some time ago, the furry community was exposed to harvest zoophiles and animal abusers. There were multiple videos of puppies being mistreated and ultimately ended for pure pleasure. Kara the wolf is one of the main culprits that is allegedly involved in these practices.
The police were able to obtain a search warrant, which blew my mind. There's honestly nothing there to justify a search warrant. But then I saw the actual piece of paper. Someone called the police, accused me of having illicit material on my computer, and the warrant was to check for distribution and storage of it.
Allegedly, there are videos of this guy doing despicable things to animals, and there was a leaked conversation of him accepting those practices. But, again, nothing happened to him.
Police took nearly 2 years to look at my possessions. They even sent my devices to the FBI forensics lab. And also, the New York police got involved. And through all that, there were never any charges against me.
Another one could be Plague Moth, a YouTuber who started his channel as a way of shining a light on child mistreatment, but saw popularity showing blurred out gore videos to the audience while reacting to them. There's an infamous video called One Girl 99 Stomps, where a teen girl is mugged outside her apartment and the perpetrator stomps on her head multiple times. Sources say she's still alive, and I hope it's the case, but Plague Moth showed the video on his channel, and after reacting to it on camera, he decided to watch it again while counting how many stomps the girl received.
The incident was recorded on March 14th of 2004 and was recorded on CCTV footage in an apartment building, the apartments of, quote, House 12 on Vadeniv Street. This is where Chernikov approached the victim, pulled her down to the ground, and began to viciously stomp her in her neck and head, up to 23 times specifically. As I previously counted, I just wanted to know. I still don't see how that's bad information. Insensitive as it is, I mean, somebody would actually have to count that as part of a police report, but we're not out there crucifying them, are we?
He was in a lot of controversies after that, and I believe he lost his YouTube channel. It's not funny. None of what they do is funny anymore, but scary, disgusting, depraved, and horrible. A Horrorcow will take an online beef to real life by doxing detractors, swatting them, and even meeting them in person with violent consequences. More often than not, a Horrorcow has a morally questionable past. They will send gore to people who disagree with them and harass innocent people surrounding their detractors. These are dangerous people who sometimes think there is nothing left to lose. But where does P.T. Barnum fit in the story? I like to extrapolate things from the lolcow community back to the P.T. Barnum days, and the first name that comes to my mind is Lobster Boy. I will skip this story to another video, but Grady Stiles was born with a genetic abnormality that all his family had. They were traveling around and exploiting their looks for money. Eventually, Grady met a woman and escaped with her. They had kids with the same condition, except one. Family life was a nightmare because Grady was an alcoholic, plus his upper body strength was poppin'. The guy has superhuman strength, a horrible thing to possess while being an abusive ass. The wife divorced him and moved on to marry another circus performer. Donna, Grady's daughter, wanted to run away and get married to her boyfriend, but she hoped her dad wouldn't notice it, or he would turn violent. Well, Grady found out, and the night before the wedding, he lured the young man into talking to him, but instead of a heart-to-heart conversation, Grady shot the man twice. You will think he was accused of murder and went to prison, but you will be incorrect. He played with his multiple disabilities and got away with it. I'm sure there are more stories like this on the P.T. Barnum side, but I hope it was clear that a Horrorcow is someone that started as a lolcow because of their extravagant online persona, but because of overexposure, mental illness, or just pure nature, let the darkest desires come to light for everyone to see. What do you think? Do you know any Horrorcows, or is this your first introduction? I hope you enjoyed the video. Please subscribe to the channel, it's completely free. Also leave a like, that'll be great. Have a fantastic day, and I'll see you the next one. Stay safe.